Cool. Right, so I'm with Cody. I've known him ages, haven't you? Beautiful. Tell the world who Cody is, full name,
Yeah.
when, like, your relationship with UFC, when you fought.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met you, was it your first fight in Mel? Was it Australia?
You would have met me in Ireland.
Was that the first one?
No, it was like fight number 4. But Cody Donovan, lifelong martial artist, black belt in jiu-jitsu, fought in the UFC for about 4 years. Met you in Ireland. Retired from fighting now. I coach full-time with the Elevation Fight team in Denver.
Can you name some of the athletes on there?
Yeah, so we have like TJ Dillashaw, and Matt Brown, Neil Magny, Brandon Thatch, Drew Dober, a lot of great guys. Bojan Velikovic, who's fighting, this weekend. We're in Sweden, by the way. We're in Sweden.
Stockholm.
Yeah. So just really having a blast doing that. For me, I mean, the coaching is almost, it's a better fit for me than fighting was. I always enjoyed fighting, but I was one of those guys who maybe all of the information that I knew and understood didn't always translate. I wasn't able to do what I know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now with coaching, it's great. It's like a lot of the mistakes that I made and the things that were maybe mishaps for me, I get to use as positive things for these guys, and kind of steer these guys in the right direction. And I'm enjoying coaching a lot more.
Did you ever I found a little bit that, I don't know if it's the way I was brought up or the way I am as a human being, I don't like hurting people, so even though I was okay when I used to compete, I'd done quite well, it didn't sit right with me, so it's really weird. It's like, I teach people with the Krav how to be aggressive when they have to, but also at the same time I'm trying to say to them you should avoid violence, and then in the MMA you've got to be able to switch it on and forget about the chance you may hurt someone, and you've got to be able to shut that down, and I find that quite hard, where that's the difference between a fighter and most people.
I think I struggled with that a lot. I don't have any ill will towards anyone. I mean, I'll even go so far as to say every guy that I fought, I liked.
Yeah,
they're good dudes. I had a lot in common with them.
Yeah.
I mean, so that is tough. I mean, a lot of things in my background, like you're saying, trying to practice nonviolence and things like that. I've always kind of been on that mindset. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a garden in a war. But, or just the stereotypes of what an MMA fighter is. This, like, everybody thinks we're these like tattooed, barbaric, idiots, and we're not that at all. I mean, I might be, but so I had trouble with that. I don't like hurting people, but I was competitive. I was a good martial artist, and I wanted to have some kind of outlet to showcase that. But I don't know. I think coaching's certainly a better fit for me.
Yeah. I find myself, so everything I'm sort of saying is to sort of bring it out in you a little bit. Going through what I went through in all parts of my life has helped me when I'm talking to people now. Like, we just had that conversation. You said, can you compete in Krav? And no, because of the violent aspect of it, where MMA is a sport.
Yeah.
But then most people go to MMA and sport-related stuff because they're interested in martial arts. A lot of people come to Krav because they're afraid of something, or something's happened, they've seen something, and they just want to get confidence and learn how to. Yeah. Whereas, jiu-jitsu, your road from white to black belt might be 10 years. You can get good in Krav in a year, and I might not see him again. Mm-hmm. But everyone I know that's come through the classes, I know I've benefited, and that's the same as. So, where I'm relating to now is your story. Like, I know you've got your own story. So, what was bullying for you? How did it start? How did you feel you overcame it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I ever overcame it. It's something that I carry with me daily, but the tools that martial arts has given me definitely helped me cope with it, right? Bullying was really bad for me when I was a kid. The neighborhood that I grew up in wasn't necessarily a bad neighborhood, but I'm the oldest in my family. The neighborhood, or the street that I grew up on, was primarily Korean and Vietnamese, and I was a big white kid and was kind of singled out for that. Was harassed verbally or physically daily through elementary school and then junior high school. And that's tough, man. I mean, I don't know. It was very tough.
You kind of think it's just you, right?
Yeah. I thought there was something wrong with me, or I was a big guy, and I was tall, but I was kind of a mama's boy. You know, my parents didn't really prepare me for violence or anything like that. Like, for instance, I showed up to middle school. Middle school is when you're like 13 years old. I showed up to the first day of middle school with like Star Wars and G.I. Joe characters in my pockets because I didn't, you know, the dudes I hung out with having, hey man, I got, you know, Han Solo. That was like cool. When you get to middle school, that's not cool. You know, some kids like, what the hell's in that guy's pocket, you know, and not cool. So, you know, got beat up a lot for that. I remember spending a lot of time hiding on the bus and, you know, trying to duck low. And I remember an incident where I was beat up in front of my little brother, you know, so they were holding my neck against the fence and somebody was punching me. And I remember seeing my little brother and he, you know, he was scared, probably ashamed. His older brother was getting beat up and stuff. And, you know, that stuff never goes away. But martial arts kind of helped me deal with that. It's very easy to go in a negative direction. I think the first thing that I did after that bullying was the day that I finally stood up for myself and started punching back and things like that.
How old was you? Do you remember that day? First time?
I remember it well, yeah. I had met a new group of friends, and they didn't know about the bullying that had happened at the previous school. They thought I was a cool guy, and it had caught up with me a little bit. A group of guys had seen me. They kind of surrounded us. They were picking on me. I remember looking at my new friends, and my new friends were kind of like, what? You know, like, Cody gets bullied, Cody's getting picked on. And I had to make a change. I had to do something. I had to say, well, that was the old me. That's not the new me, right? I ended up getting into a fist fight with this kid, and it was. I mean, it's probably why I became a fighter, because there was almost this reward for it. Now, you know, I got in the fight. I won the fight. And now all of a sudden, everybody's patting me on the back, and I'm like Mr. Cool Guy or something, which that could be a bad thing as well, right? Because you don't want to. No. I don't want to learn that violence is like a good thing or something. So martial arts pulled me from that, because I would have spent the next few years, you know, as a young man, early 20s, getting into trouble, fighting for attention, stuff like that, you know. Not fighting for attention, but literally fighting to get attention. Yeah. Whereas other guys might have been looking around for girls or something. I was, you know, looking for like, who's the bad guy here that's going to pick on somebody? I thought I was a superhero or something, you know. But martial arts really helped with that. Nathan Marquardt was the big one who helped me with that. I met Nathan when I was about 23 years old, and he has this persona where he kind of, you know, like he's a lion. He's the baddest dude in the room, but he doesn't act like the baddest dude in the room, and he doesn't have to tell anybody he's the baddest dude in the room. Yeah. And that really, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, wow. That's more. Even before I wanted to be a fighter, I was like, man, I want to be like that. Like I agreed with it morally. I was like, he is a bad dude, but he doesn't act like a bad dude.
No, he's so cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first show. I can't even remember which one, because I mean, I've been doing this 10 years. Nathan was back then. He was on it then, and you know, he's very unassuming and very quiet and really polite and great manners. Yep. And then he gets in the octagon and you see, I mean, I knew of him, but even before I'd met him, obviously I'd been watching the UFC, even before we started doing it in the UK as working the shows. It was obviously going in America for years, so I knew everyone's face, but there's quite a few like that. Yeah. And it's quite nice,
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't raised that way. There was no warrior culture in my family. I mean, there's 6 kids in my family. My dad was so busy working and trying to provide for these kids that I didn't get a lot of those lessons, you know. And so Nate was one of the first ones that kind of, you know, showed me that, and that's what I try to do now. I mean, the gym that I met him in was high altitude martial arts. I own that gym now, and that's something that we are trying to, you know, lead by example every day to show these guys, you know, learn these skills. They're going to give you confidence. They're going to enrich your lives. But if I find out you're a bad guy, if I find out you're a bully, if you're using these skills for the wrong things, you're out of here. You know? That's really important.
You know, it's weird. I find, and I'm massively into energies with people. So often when people come and join the classes, because my gym's kind of set up. It's got all the individual martial arts. It isn't an MMA gym as such. So I've got the Krav, Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing. Yeah. But within all the classes, my main thing with the instructors was they got a lovely energy. That's my main thing. Yeah. And then anyone who comes, they can't stay in that energy unless that's who they really are. They may turn up with fixed, I've got to act like this, I've got to do that. But once they're there a couple of times and they realise everyone's cool and we're learning and we're friends and family, if they're not that type of human being, then they don't last long anyway.
Yeah.
They won't feel comfortable in being nice and being supportive.
Exactly. I look at it like, I think a good analogy, I got this from a book I read, but your students, that's your flock. They're sheep, not in a derogatory way, like sheep, like they follow each other, but they're they don't necessarily have a propensity for violence. They're enjoying themselves. They're having fun, and there are two dogs in the room, right? One of them's a wolf, one of them's a sheepdog, and we have to be the sheepdog because we are capable of being violent. But we also have like love for our fellow man, and I am constantly scanning for those guys who are the opposite, the ones who are capable of being violent and don't have a love for their fellow man. These, and you get them. I mean, I'm like you. I feel like I'm pretty good at spotting them when they come in the door, and sometimes I'm wrong, but I'll be like, keep an eye on that guy, And we do like a trial. We'll let them have a couple of classes for free, and we're using, we got our radars on. We're watching these guys. We're like, what kind of guy is this? Yeah. Because you don't want those people in there. I mean, you're arming those people. Those are already. How would I word this? We're trying to arm everyone else to protect themselves from those people. We're not going to bring those people into that environment,
So I can remember the times that they have slipped past me, and it might be 2 or 3 times in the years I've been doing it, and all 2 or 3 times I've paid for it. One of the guys was a good kickboxer, and he was a nice guy, so I'm not going to go into it, but he just came in thinking, I just want to fight and I just want to sprawl and spar with everyone, and I think the second guy he sparred with, he broke his ribs, so I lost that guy. He never came back.
You lost a paying member.
But he's a friend of mine as well, and he'll probably watch this, and even though I can't be everywhere all the time, I do look at that and think that was my bad. That guy was obviously I shouldn't have let him near any of the beginners because of his propensity probably not to understand that. Yourself in jiu-jitsu, the people get injured by the beginners.
Yep.
In stand-up sparring, if you're a guy who's fighting a lot and sparring a lot, you can easily hurt people. And if you're used to going rough, like this guy was, he came from another country, was used to going rough. He didn't come in as a bully, he just was used to kicking and punching hard, and that's it.
Yeah.
If you're a beginner, then, do you know what I mean? So,
it's almost 2 separate cultures, right? He probably came from a gym where they were training to fight, training to compete, a real hard-nosed mentality, and he needs to find one of those rooms. I mean, those rooms exist, but they're not, those aren't places where regular people grow and overcome bullying and gain confidence. Those are places where swords sharpen each other for battle, that kind of thing. I agree.
So so there's always a common theme here. I'm always saying to people, one, it's the bully who's got the issues. So I know I say it as a kids, but you may be getting this at work, you may be getting this through your parents, you may be getting it with your partner, without realising the bully has got the issues, and they're the person really I'm trying to reach more. I was bullied and then I became a bully. And like you said, you started looking for that guy. Well, that's what happened with me a little bit. I started thinking, just anyone I looked at. I mean, I went for it for a long time being the weaker version, and then I had a few fights and I won, and then I started hanging around with the guys, my friends at the time, and it would only take a look and then there would be a fight, and so then I became the bully without realising. So that side of me I hate, but I know where it came from. I know it came from all my pain and thinking that was the answer, because I had no one telling me no, that's not the answer. I was kind of on my own a little bit. So I'm hopefully reaching some of you guys who may be now realising without realising you're a bully. And so just a quick one, when we go into the schools, the first thing I always say to everyone, especially the youngsters, is I'm going to want you to put your hand up when I ask you a question, and then I'm going to put my hand up if it relates. So has anyone in here ever been bullied? So I put my hand up, and loads of people do it. Then I say, has anyone been a bully? And I'll put my hand up, and a few put them up, and they're the brave ones, because to admit you're a bully, no one likes being called that. So to admit at that age that you think you're a bully or have been a bully is really cool. And then I can get to them and explain to them, no, this is probably why that's happened, and you found that being attacking first or being verbal has kept people away, and now we just got to watch your actions and your words more and tell people, communication's massive. Just to reflect on, so if you was to say anything, if you was to give some advice now, to anyone who's going through it, at the point you was going through it at your worst, you said your turning point without even realising came because you met a new lot of guys, and just thinking that they're looking at me like I should be like them was what you probably needed. It was like your role model of your dad saying, no, you can't do that no more, you've got to do this. Are you looking at them? Is that...
Yeah. I mean, I think if you are being bullied, don't just assume it's going to go away. You have to take action. No one is going to fix it for you. And I don't mean action by, you don't have to confront the first person and punch them in the nose, right? But you have to stand up for yourself. You can stand up for yourself verbally or physically or whatever, right? Or even sometimes standing up for yourself is just changing your situation. If you have an abusive partner or something, standing up for yourself might be saying, I've had enough and I'm leaving, that kind of thing. But that courage, that's the real fight. When I'm working with the little kids and I'm talking about bullying, I don't look at like having to use the jiu-jitsu and tackle the bully and hold the bully down with their jiu-jitsu and wait for the teacher to get there. I don't even look at that as the scary part. The scary part is that talk that they have to have the first time, where they have to tell the bully, like, the way you're talking to me is not okay, I don't like this, and where they got that, you know what it's like, you get that frog in your throat. I mean, I think about it right now and I get goose pimples. Your knees are shaking, your voice is jumping, That's the scariest part, is that confrontation.
Because no is a massive word. Saying no to someone is enormous.
Yeah, and saying like, I'm enough, I'm you don't get to do this to me,
Yeah. Well, we kind of work off 3 rules when we speak to the real youngsters at school. We say the first one is to say to someone, I don't like that, why are you bullying me? Because like I said, no one likes hearing they're a bully, and often they don't even realise. They think, oh, maybe I am, I didn't realise, I thought we were all joking. But if you're joking at someone's expense, it can be seen as that. Yeah. Then the second one I'm
still guilty of that to this day.
Yeah, we all do that without realising. And then it's good if your friend turns around and goes, oh, it's a bit close to the market, I've got feelings there. And then you realise to pull it back. So communication, you may be able to talk to someone, if it's in a relationship or whatever. Kids, I'm aiming at more if they're not getting any help from their parents. So the first one would be to say to the other person, look, I don't like this, why are you bullying me? That might work. If it doesn't work, then threaten to go to the teacher. If that's number 2. If that doesn't work, then you actually go to the teacher, because you need to communicate. You need to let someone know. You can't later on let it all happen and then someone say, well, why didn't you tell us? We didn't know this was going on. Yeah. And you may not have it at home, but there is a lot of help at schools and whatnot. And then the very last thing would be you're caught and trapped in a corner, and then you should fight back.
And you need to defend yourself.
Yeah, and the way I say this is, if it was your mum, your dad, or your little brother or sister, you wouldn't feel no way of defending them. But it's really weird how we're not great when we're kids at defending us, but we defend other people or our animals, or get upset for other people.
And every one of those steps is scary in their own right. I constantly see people at step 2, particularly children. When it comes time to have to go to an adult or to have to go to a teacher, stick up for yourself in that moment. Don't downplay it, right? There's a lot of where kids it almost turns into tattling, or, like, oh, so-and-so's bullying me, or, oh, yeah, they said some things I didn't like, but it's okay, that kind of stuff. Because we can appear weak when we go to someone else and say, hey, this person, I don't like the way this person is talking to me and stuff like that. But I think that's one of the most important steps, and oftentimes that step will fix things, right? So when you go to an adult, stick up for yourself. Say, this person is picking on me, it's hurting my feelings, it's making my life miserable,
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is like other kids calling you a snitch or a grass, saying, oh, why did you go to the teacher? And say, well, you know what, I told you and you didn't listen, so hold on, well, I don't get it. If I say to you, please don't do it, and you're still going to do it, what do you want me to do? Because you don't listen. I'm not advocating that everyone learn how to fight and fight everyone. I'm saying, but you do have to look after you, because if someone else isn't, it's your job. Your inner soul, your beautiful part of you inside needs protecting, and this outside's got to do that. And if no one's taught you how to do that, then that's why you're watching videos like this. And we're saying there is help there. There's anti-bullying campaigns. There's people you can go to. But it's massively important you talk. You've got to get it out. Don't hold it in, because, and I say this a lot in my videos, and I keep reiterating it because I know there's kids like this. My mum was working really hard, so she wasn't around a lot. My dad wasn't around when I was a little bit younger, so my dad's a strong, powerful individual. You know, he got a bravery award in the army for someone hit a policeman and he protected him and that. So but he wasn't around, so he couldn't really guide me in that respect. And my mum was always working, so I was with my nan a lot, and I didn't want to upset her, so I didn't tell no one. So a lot of days I'd come home and sit in my bedroom and cry about the day. And when I did tell my mum didn't really know how to deal with it at that time. So she went and confronted the bully, and then the bully made it worse for me at school.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to me.
You told your mum?
My mom went and confronted the bully in front of a bunch of bullies, and it made it 100 times worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he told his mom. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. I physically remember the next morning I was standing in the playground, and the next thing I was on the floor. He must have run through the playground and pushed me flying. And he wasn't afraid. Now my mum weren't there, he weren't afraid, and I just thought, I'm never saying that again then, because that ain't worked. So then I went into an even worse place.
Yep.
So if you've got to understand, if you can't stop it through one, it doesn't mean that's the end of it. You now have to just use your brain, because that's what it's for. Who can I go to next? It didn't work with my mum, or it didn't work with my dad, because my dad gets too angry. I need to speak to this person. And we're advocating martial arts because it helped both of us. But there's soft martial arts, which I call soft. They're not so aggressive like jiu-jitsu and judo, where you can learn to roll and get good at a skill. But physically rolling around with someone all the time, it's going to toughen you up. You know, it's going to give you that mentality of, it's okay, I can do that. And then it doesn't have to be a big physical fight. And you'll watch loads of stuff on YouTube where bullies have been beaten one-on-one by jiu-jitsu guys.
Sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It doesn't have to be the extreme physical, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think martial arts also creates mental habits. In all martial arts, you run into an obstacle, you run into an area where you maybe don't understand, and where you're stuck, and you learn this habit of seeking out a person who does understand it, asking them for help, learning what they give you, and then applying it back to the martial art. I think that's one of the best lessons in martial arts,
yeah.
Right? And the more you practice a martial art, the more you get into that mindset, and that's a very good mindset for life. You'll overcome any problem. The biggest thing I like to tell the people who are being bullied is you're not alone. The toughest guys that you see on TV and all that stuff, we are all a product of bullying, or we wouldn't be doing this. I mean, there's no,
It's weird.
Yeah, we are all a product of that. So
you're not alone.
Not alone.
Massively.
Yeah, not alone.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
Give me a hug.
Yeah, we're all, yeah. Yeah, good.
Right, like we said, there's loads of places to go. There's some links on my site, but it's not about that really. It's more about, you can just type in anti-bullying on Google, and there'll be loads of places to help. Your first step has got to be saying, I'm not doing this on my own, because none of us did it on our own. We either went to martial arts places and they helped us, and we probably both got, like you said about Nate, I've got some people that I went to as a kid, and they, without realising, just helped me. So don't be alone on this, all right? Okay, have a fantastic day. Big love.